Hello class, I'm called Emerensian Kafu. I'm here to present my informative speech, which is about the life and story of Alice Walker. She's an African American born on February 9, 1994 in Georgia. She's also a novelist, a short story writer, a poet, and an activist. She grew up in a segregated state in Georgia, and she attended the only high school that was available for blacks, that is the Butler High School. She was later on granted scholarship to study in New York. Like when she was in high school, Georgia was full of racism and segregation. There was no right for no place for black women, no right to vote, and no freedom of speech for black. Everything were being controlled by the white and was under the whites. Schools were quite different from whites and blacks. So when she went to New York, she discovered that things were quite different in New York. Both blacks and white attended the same school, rented in the same complex. So she decided that after her studies, she has to come back to Georgia. She had to come back and educate the black in Georgia about what is happening in New York. When she came back to the South, she was working in an association in the National Association for the When she came back, she was working in the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. This was an association that was meant to educate the black about their right to fight segregation and to fight against racism. Alice thought it wise that it would be better for her to write all these things in a novel. So, in 1970, she published her first novel, The Third Life of the Grand Kaplan. This novel was a chronological story of a third generation of a black sharecropper farmer in the South. It addresses several issues that occupied Walker's career, like the abuse of black women by their husbands, the civil rights movement, and the necessities of self-reliance and moral responsibility. In her book, she emphasizes that the strongest weapon to fight injustice was togetherness, was for blacks to come together as black, love each other. Therefore, in 1976, she wrote her second novel, The Meridian. This novel, it demonstrates racism throughout the 1960s. And the story was about a black woman's struggle and the relationship between the black and the Jewish in the civil rights movement. In this novel, she explained the struggle faced by black women that are set against the black background of civil rights movement. It was also about people who were abused and equally exercised the presentation of racism and love and the problem caused by gender and race in Africa American. She also have another novel named The Color Purple, published in 1982. This novel touches the minds of black, especially those in Georgia, and this novel won her a Puzzle Prize and the National Book Award Fiction. This novel portrayed the black women character. This novel was aimed to criticize the unjust practices of racism. Walker did not only end her career in writing, she was an activist. She was strong in human rights activity. She made sure that she fought for the right of women, especially black women. It was all thanks to her and her collaboration with Martin Luther King that blacks are now able to vote, have freedom of speech, that blacks can now make decisions, blacks can now have a say in politics. one cannot do a thing like that without being criticized. Walker was being criticized for Walker was criticized for using the meridian to show her humanist attitude against the feminist activity, and also she portrayed a negative view against black American men. Thank you. I hope you enjoy it.